World Space Week 2025. Look up at the night sky. 1 billion points of light stare back. Some are ancient giants that died long before humanity walked the earth. Others are still being born, fiery and new. And among them, hidden in the shadows, move the machines we have placed there, our own creations, circling endlessly above our fragile world. From October 4th to 10th, 2025, humanity will pause together for World Space Week. It is the largest annual celebration of space on Earth declared by the United Nations General Assembly in 1999 to honor the ways space science and technology transform life below the stars. This year's theme is both mysterious and urgent: living in space. Not merely visiting, not just exploring, but learning how to survive, and perhaps to belong, in places never meant for human life. On October 4th, 1957, a pulse echoed from the heavens. Beep, beep, beep. It was Sputnik 1, a metal sphere no bigger than a ball, yet heavy enough to change the destiny of a species. With that sound, the space age was born. 10 years later, on October 10th, 1967, the world signed a promise, the Outer Space Treaty. It declared that no nation may own the moon or Mars, that the heavens belong to all, a Magna Carta written not on Earth, but for eternity. These two dates, Sputnik's launch and the treaty's birth, form the pillars of World Space Week. One marked our first leap, the other, our first vow. In just 10 years, humanity went from silence in the skies to writing laws for the stars. World Space Week is not one festival, but thousands. In recent years, more than 10,000 events have unfolded across 90 nations. Rockets launched by children in schoolyards, telescopes in small villages, art exhibits in cities, scientists debating space law, farmers studying satellite maps of their fields. The United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, UNOSA, helps bring space to every nation. At least 25 UN agencies use satellites daily, feeding the hungry, predicting floods, mapping disease. Every time the UN delivers food or saves lives in a storm, it is space that makes it possible. Here are 10 truths, 10 star strikes that show why living in space is no longer science fiction, but tomorrow's reality. 1. A silent fleet above. More than 7,800 satellites orbit Earth. They are invisible, yet without them, planes would be lost, weather unknown, the internet gone. Switch off the satellites, and civilization itself goes dark. 2. The United Nations in orbit. At least 25 UN entities already depend on space. Satellites guide peacekeeping missions, trace wildfires, map refugee camps. 3. A home among the stars. The International Space Station has circled Earth for over 24 years, never once empty. Humanity already has a home off-world. Right now, as you breathe, humans are orbiting above you, and they haven't come down in over 2 decades. 4. Gardens in the void. Astronauts have grown lettuce, mustard, zinnias, even chili peppers in orbit. These are not experiments of curiosity, they are recipes for survival. 5. Mars, the 7-month neighbor. Mars is only 7 months away. Robots have gone before us. Humans will follow within your lifetime. 6. The web of the stars. Satellite networks like Starlink are wrapping Earth in global internet. Tomorrow, the same systems will keep Mars and the Moon connected. 7. A flood of power. The sun floods Earth with 173,000 terawatts every second. 1,000 times more than we need. Engineers are planning to beam it directly from orbit to Earth. The sun gives us endless power. We've just never learned how to catch it. 8. Watchers of disaster. In 2023, satellites tracked over 500 natural disasters, From fires to floods, their eyes saved countless lives. 9. Classrooms under the stars. Surveys show children exposed to World Space Week are far more likely to enter science and engineering. The space workforce of the future is being shaped by the classrooms of today. 10. The Law of the Cosmos. The Outer Space Treaty, signed by 114 nations, ensures the heavens belong to no one. As we prepare to live in space, the law reminds us, the stars are for all. What does living in space mean in 2025? It means astronauts orbiting in silence above us. It means satellites guiding farmers through droughts. It means engineers building lunar shelters in deserts on Earth, preparing for deserts on the Moon. It even means private companies sketching hotels in orbit. NASA plans to return humans to the Moon. China dreams of a lunar base. Companies imagine Martian colonies. Step by step, humans are learning to breathe, to eat, to endure where no human life was meant to be. We are not building rockets just to escape Earth. We are learning to live in space so that Earth itself can survive. World Space Week 2025 is not just a celebration, it is a reminder that Sputnik's faint beeps changed everything, that the Outer Space Treaty gave us laws for the stars, that every orbit, every satellite, every green leaf grown in weightlessness is a step in humanity's greatest story. For millennia, we looked at the stars as strangers. Now we prepare to join them as neighbors. And one day, as citizens. The stars are calling. The only question left is, will we be ready when it's time to answer?
I brought you here. But remember, Nick, you were the one who came looking for me.
So you might want to ask yourself, did I find what I was looking for?
How amazed were you to see your roadster up there with Starman just cruising along with the blue planet? And how long will we be getting live views, do you think, from the car?
Well, I think it looks so ridiculous and impossible. And you can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
When I was talking with the gentleman from Belcom, and we were discussing the lie, everything he was telling me was different from what we were being told was the truth. And at one point I asked him, I said, man, you guys, you lied about a lot, didn't you? And instantly he said, no, we didn't lie about certain things, we lied about everything.
force field. It's a dome. We're at the edge of the arena.
When a man reaches the edge, after he goes as far as any man can possibly go, how does his son continue?
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
You know, I was nearly 40 by the time I took vows as a Jesuit brother. I'd had a pretty full life before that. I'd been a college professor. I'd traveled around the world and spent 2 years in Africa in the Peace Corps. I'd published dozens of scientific papers, and yet none of those things allowed me to use all of my talents the way that being a Jesuit had.
Again, bow our knee to a woke, compromising voice. We will never again.
And to those who would stand in the way, you have not silenced a voice. You have unleashed a movement. You thought Charlie's mission would die with him, but in truth, it is only grown louder.
A couple of years ago, I was asked to do a Bible study group. I'm thinking Catholics don't do Bible studies, you know. And to do a Bible study group in Houston. I'm going, Catholics definitely don't do Bible studies in Texas. To do a Bible study group in Houston with a bunch of astronauts. Astronauts, oh, I could do that, yeah. So I wound up at a dinner evening of about 12 couples, all of them astronauts and spouses. One of the guys, half of them were Catholic as it turns out, so much for Catholics not doing Bible studies. One of the guys came up to me and said, you know, I just want to let you know, I believe in the absolute truth that creation was made in the 6 days just as described in the book of Genesis. And that's my religion. I just want to let you know that ahead of time. And I'm thinking, have you actually read Genesis? Where it says the world is flat and it's covered with a dome and there's water above and below the dome, Where does the shuttle go?
C. Jews in space!
Jews are in space, we're zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race. We're Jews are in space. If trouble appears, we'll put it right back in its place. When Goyim attack us, we'll give them a smack, we'll slap them right back in the face.
I know there's a strategy. I know you're coming back with reinforcements, something. I know there's a plan. You can tell me no other human will ever know.
There is no plan.
We were hidden in the first booster rocket to separate. Splashed down back in the Atlantic just as planned. We ain't going nowhere.
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Jennings at ABC News headquarters. In the words of a flight director at NASA, it has been a bad day. 7 astronauts have died, their families shattered. The space program has been dealt a terrible blow. The larger family of men and women in space exploration devastated. And the country has been reminded how dangerous it is, and that for all of America's technological genius, it doesn't always work.
I'll tell the government right now, tell you right now if you're listening, NSA, CIA, I'm available, okay? If you show me all the real wreckage, I swear to God, I will make fun of that crap to the end of time. I'll make up stories. I'll lie to my mother. I don't care. You show me a UFO, I'll lie to my mother.
This morning, just before 8 o'clock Texas time, the Space Shuttle Columbia was just about to finish a picture-perfect 16-day scientific mission. The astronauts' families were by the runway in Florida, poised for a great reunion. Instead, this was the picture that we all saw. Columbia was at 200,000 feet, going 12,500 miles an hour when it suddenly broke up under stress that we still do not understand. 16 minutes from home. We begin our field reporting with ABC's Ned Potter.
To ignition and liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia with
Columbia was on a science mission. 7 astronauts, 16 days, 70 experiments.
A more courageous group of people you could not have hoped to know.
This morning, the crew finished packing up for re-entry. Landing planned for 9:16 this morning Eastern Time on the runway at Florida's Kennedy Space Center. At 8:15 a.m., they fired their engines to begin their return from orbit.
This is Mission Control, Houston.
Shuttle landings are normally quiet, but at 8:53 a.m., Mission Control saw some odd temperature readings here along the left wing. A few minutes later, there were more oddities, apparently having to do with the landing gear on the left side. At 8:59 a.m., the shuttle came over Texas, still 39 miles high and moving at 12,000 miles an hour. Mission Control had its last contact with the crew.
And Columbia, Houston, we see your tire pressure messages, and we did not copy your last. Roger.
There was nothing more. People on the ground saw the streak of the shuttle breaking up.
And then suddenly things started raining down out of the sky. And it sounded like a boomerang whizzing through the air.
At 9:16 a.m., the scheduled landing time came and went. At 9:29 a.m., NASA officially declared an emergency and impounded all data for the investigations that will follow. At 2 p.m., the President addressed the nation.
These men and women assumed great risk in the service to all humanity. In an age when spaceflight has come to seem almost routine.
What went wrong? Some engineers wonder if the trouble really began at liftoff, when some insulation came off the shuttle's big orange fuel tank and apparently struck the orbiter's wing.
The technical community got together and across the country looked at it and judged that to be acceptable.
NASA quickly said there was no sign of terrorism.
At this time, we have no indication that the mishap was caused by anything or anyone on the ground.
This satellite radar image shows parts of North Texas where most of the debris may have crashed to Earth. But people as far west as California and Utah thought they also saw debris as the ship streaked overhead. Engineers say anything at this point is speculation.
It seemed there was a sequence of events, something that started with one event leading to another and another.
There is no saying what will come of the investigation. The chief flight director said, "When we have a bad day, we find the problem and go fix it."
The Vector, NASA's official logo. If you've ever looked at NASA's official logo, both their official insignia and their official seal, you'll see that the most prominent object in the seal is a red swooshing object. They call that the chevron or the vector. If you ask NASA's Public Affairs Office, this symbology is featured so heavily in their insignia and seal, they'll give you what really amounts to the standard facile cover story for the unilluminated. They'll tell you that that is a representation of a hypersonic wing design from the 1950s, which was the time the logo was created. Not exactly the case. Someone might want to ask the Russian Federal Space Agency, Roscosmos, that was formed in 1992, why they chose that same logo. And while you're at it, you can go ask the Chinese, who formed their space agency in 1996, why in the world they're using a hypersonic wing design from the 1950s as their official logo. Then you can ask the Japanese, the South Koreans, Taiwanese, Malaysia, Mexico, Iran, all of these countries, even Bulgaria. They all utilize the vector symbology in their space agency logos for their national space agencies. It gets even deeper. You can go look at the individual manned program patches for NASA. The Mercury program, for example, a blatant use of covert symbology. In every logo dealing with the Mercury program, you'll see what looks like a number 7 in their logo. And again, NASA's official story is that they put this number 7 there so that they could pay homage to the original 7 Mercury astronauts. Kind of forgetting the fact that only 6 Mercury astronauts actually flew into space, because number 7 never did. Deke Slayton had a heart problem, so he didn't get to go up.
I'm sorry, Reverend Morgan. I was going too fast.
Gwillem, if you had been watching your driving instead of thinking of Essie, this wouldn't have happened.
It wasn't his fault. The horses ran away. Uncle Evan, you can't blame Gwillem. It was just an accident.
You're to blame for this. Evil has stalked this train ever since we were foolish enough to bring you with us.
Emma, that's enough. You've gone a bit too far.
You defend her only because she's your niece. She's a daughter of Satan, Evan. I've told you before. Mark my words. Satan rides her shoulder like a dark cloud.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see just how evil NASA is. First, we're going to look at Earth's orbital speed around the sun. How fast does Earth move around the sun? 66,600 miles per hour, speed of the globe's orbit. Next, curvature in 1 mile squared. According to Pythagorean theorem, 0.67 feet of drop. 8 inches converted to feet is 0.66667 feet. Curvature in 1 mile squared. Check. Earth's axial tilt, 23.4. But when you take 23.4 and subtract it from 90, a right angle, you get, believe it or not, 66.6.
Yeah, this wagon could sure use some fixing. So maybe my boys and I can help you with it.
The eternal brethren take no charity, sir.
I'm sorry, what's that?
The eternal brethren. We are the people preparing for the last conflict with Satan, the prince of darkness, who all men must meet someday. A little more half brethren wouldn't hurt to say a prayer as we put our shoulders to it.
Evan, you couldn't listen to me before. Now maybe you will. There's something you must see.
Emma, I'll join you as soon as we get the wagon upright.
No. This is more important than any wagon. Come along.
Oh, all right, Emma. Remember, brethren, the right prayer can increase your strength tenfold.
Come along.
If you start here and you go around long enough in the same direction, you wind up in the place you started from. Yes, Thomas.
Why don't we fall off when we walk underneath, Miss Sarah?
Because of a force called gravity.
What does gravity look like?
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
I don't know.
Nobody in the entire world knows why that falls.
So what is pushing this?
Here. Why does that fall?
Gravity is something we can't see, but we know it's a great invisible force that keeps us all here on Earth. Some of you know what a magnet is, don't you?
I do.
Well, then let's think of it like that. Gravity could be called a kind of magnet. It's a natural force that keeps us all from flying off into space.
Newton didn't know.
We can describe it pretty accurately, but no one knows why.
We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it.
I don't need a computer to get a kid interested in that. To spend a week playing with gravity and trying to understand it and come up with reasons why.
Well, so what is pushing this?
I don't know.
Nobody knows why.
So Newton simply threw his hands up and said, I don't know. So I'm going to invent something called gravitational pull.
Again, axial tilt confirmed. Now let's take a look at the Antarctic and Arctic circles. Oh, would you look at that? 66.6 degrees north and 66.6 degrees south.
Finally tonight, she's out of this world. The current commander of the International Space Station about to break a big record tonight. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
They call it the Peggy factor, Mission Control's code word for the way superstar astronaut Peggy Whitson always gets the job done.
I love it up here.
Tonight, Commander Whitson making history with her record for any American. By the time she lands in September, her tally will be 666 days.
666 days in space.
Jesuit-trained Belgian priest Georges Lemaitre is the father of the so-called Big Bang Theory. The idea that first there was nothing and then it exploded. He was a close co-worker of just such a Jewish puppet, Albert Einstein. Einstein bolstered the Jesuit cosmology with his convoluted theory of relativity. The problem was that observations of both scientists and laymen weren't matching what so-called astronomers were telling us. And so Einstein fabricated the theory of relativity to claim that your reality was relative to the time-space continuum. It is purposefully almost impossible to understand. You're just supposed to trust science and astronomy. The Jesuits then jumped on with dinosaurs and Charles Darwin to claim the Earth is billions of years old. And wherever Darwin's theory of evolution had holes, Jesuits stepped up to fill the gap. Jesuits like Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, the father of the New Age, after fabricating the ape-like pre-humans that we supposedly came from, even students of evolution became concerned that there was a, quote, missing link between primitive apes and modern humans. A discovery was made in 1912 to bridge that gap. Having been found in Piltdown, East Sussex, England, it was named Piltdown Man. Unfortunately, it was also found to be a hoax. The skull of a small human with the altered mandible and teeth of an orangutan. Sometime later, paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould uncovered the father of that hoax, a Jesuit priest named Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. There are many such examples in archaeology and paleontology, and yet no one asks, why would so-called scientists be fabricating evidence? The goal was to discredit the Bible, and it has been resoundingly successful. Without the spinning ball Earth, Darwinian dinosaur cosmic accident, the Bible is a science textbook. With it, critics laugh and question the Bible, and instead look to human authorities to save their souls, such as the Vicar of Christ himself, who is for the first time in Roman Catholic history a Jesuit priest.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion,
Come on, try getting it out.
Ding, 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 bong. That's all, folks.